Okay, we've got a lot to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, so what we're looking at here is a new video drop by Skywatcher, purportedly of Class 1 type UFOs. Now, they look a lot like a flock of birds. Now, they really do. And this has been getting a lot of pushback online. Now, when you look at this footage, you know, that looks kind of anomalous, right? Kind of, right? Maybe, kind of, really. I don't know if birds move like that exactly. So, yeah, maybe these are anomalous. Maybe these are UFOs. Let me know what you think about this footage. Now, there's been a lot of misidentified birds that people have thought were UFOs, and you know, you can see why. They form a V formation and they move kind of weirdly and fluidly in the way that UFOs sometimes do. I have to think that Skywatcher has a lot of instruments and sensors and processes that they go through before determining something is anomalous. So I have to think there is probably more to it than this footage.
Formation. They do some things here that are very interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know what to make of it, guys. But let me know if you think we're looking at a flock of birds here, or if we're looking at something more anomalous. I really need to see more data on this. What other data do they have on this? Why do they think these are not birds? So I hope they respond to the pushback they've been getting on this video and give us the goods on why those are anomalous. Meanwhile, this clip has been getting a lot of play. Ross Coulthart saying that we are on borrowed time.
There's certainly something going to happen in 2027, and I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I've also heard 2034, and I've also heard other dates, you know, much later. But depends who you talk to. Some people say it's a pole reversal. Some people say it's an asteroid hitting the planet. Some people say it's AI reaching quantum, and then all of a sudden we lose the capacity to have control of our own computer systems. I have no idea. What I am aware of is that everybody's telling me we're on borrowed time. And I cannot begin to emphasize how serious a look I get when I say to people who are confiding in me, what's the timescale on this? And they're urging me to be urgent. They're saying to me, people need the right to know this. They have a right to know this. And I'm going, well, what are we talking about? And I feel like shaking these people and saying, for God's sake, just bloody tell me. And they are all constrained by their national security oaths.
Okay, well, you know, we've heard this before. You know, Lou Elizondo back in the day was saying, you know, just wait 5 years, get a hobby for 5 years. And of course, John Ramirez had this to say.
And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity I can't reveal. So I think I would say that people in the government are aware of something happening and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people, and that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace.
Yeah, which is very much in line with what Ross Coulthart was saying. Now, John Ramirez has since kind of minimalized or downplayed what he was saying in this clip, but he said it, and it perfectly lines up with what Ross is saying, and the timeline also that Lou was giving back in 2022, just get a hobby for 5 years. So what's going to happen in 2027? Maybe nothing. Does it have anything to do with the Chris Bledsoe date where he believes that the lady might show up on Easter 2026? Some think that that date is actually the wrong date, that it's actually further back in the year in 2026. But it also lines up with a lot of information coming from the beings. The beings, and during abductions or contact experiences, have shown people apocalyptic scenes that they say are going to play out at some point in the near future. people during near-death experiences have also been shown similar scenes. All usually with a hope or the promise that after that apocalypse we are entering a new world, a better world. Is any of that real? Can you trust or rely on any of that information? The beings have told people a lot of things, not all of which have turned out to be true. So, take all of this with a huge grain of salt. I'm not expecting anything major in 2027. Personally, disclosure is always around the corner, and so is the apocalypse. People have been preaching the end is near forever. So I don't place a lot of stock in these claims. I think there's a lot of internal disinformation fed to people, like these guys. And that could be what they're repeating here, or it could be on the money. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Meanwhile, Fox News is showing this clip of an eerie creature stalking a moose. What is that thing in the trees, guys? What is that thing in the trees? Is it CGI? Is that a man in a suit? Is it a Skinwalker? Is it a Wendigo? What are we looking at here? What is that creepy thing, guys? Either way, I would not want to be that moose. Yeah. Tim Clark sent me this, so thank you, Tim. This is definitely a creepy video of something. Could it be a ghost? Could it be an alien? Oh, yeah. What are we looking at here, guys? Can you think of a mundane explanation for this creepy video? Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. It looks fairly realistic, the way anomalous things often appear in video. So let me know if you think we're looking at a alien ghost or a Wendigo or a Skinwalker, and what does he want with that moose? Meanwhile, not UFO related, but bad news. George R.R. Martin says he's not ever going to finish the next book in the series, A Song of Ice and Fire. Winter is probably no longer coming for a Song of Ice and Fire series. George Martin, author of the fantasy novel series that led to the wildly popular Game of Thrones television series, wrote on his blog that the 6 books, Winds of Winter, will likely not be completed. That's a bummer. If you're like me and are a fan of the books, I thought I'd share it with you. Meanwhile, Tom Dongo, a well-known UFO and paranormal researcher, says he has acquired interesting abilities.
This thing was just a phenomenon, and I've said it on countless interviews I've done that Lyndon Bradshaw and I were probably exposed to something that probably no other person on this planet has has experienced or seen or exposed to. And my question is, I have very strange abilities, very strange. In fact, the University of California, Berkeley wanted me to come there for 2 weeks and test me, examine me to see, why I'm like that. But I think being in contact with these beings walking by us, some nights it was like being in Times Square in New York. I mean, you could feel these things walking around. And they, so did what they were rub off on Linda and I? That's what I question, because I've developed, I can see into a human body like an X-ray machine. I can go all through a human body. I've done this hundreds of times, even with medical doctors, and I'm rarely wrong about what I see. So, I developed that ability and some other psychic abilities.
That is just fascinating, and I believe him. I know people that can do that. My Reiki instructor, she can do that. First time I had a session with her, I got on the table, she spent an hour doing Reiki on me, and afterwards she set me down, and she had written, while she was doing the Reiki, she had been writing stuff down, and she had identified every single medical issue I had ever had in my life. Never met her before, my first session with her, but she was able to see into my body, and she's a medical intuitive or whatever, and she could just see all the stuff. It was really incredible. Now, I spent, a year and a half, studying Reiki with her, and I was, learn how to channel the energy. And I'm a huge fan of Qi now, and now I'm learning Qigong also, which is another way to interact with Qi and to open Qi up within yourself. And you can do stuff with Qi. Qi is pretty cool. I may talk about that one day. But I never learned how to see anything, to peer into somebody's body and to be able to see what was ailing them, or to feel it or sense it in some other way, although some of my Reiki buddies could actually do that. So I believe Tom, because I know people that can do it, not just Bonnie, but others as well. But I think that is just incredible. I love that he's talking about it. I hope more people talk about their abilities and that we can actually see maybe some evidence of this. Meanwhile, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick fires back at Anna Paulina Luna. That's right. After Anna said that Arrow should be defunded, it wasn't long before the lovely Sean reared his ugly head and said, her continued conspiracy mongering is matched only by her ignorance. I love it. And of course, this is shared by Stephen Greenstreet, who actually reached out to Sean for a response and got it. That's right. Stephen Greenstreet is now the lovely Sean Kirkpatrick's PR agent. But here's the full quote from the lovely Kirkpatrick. By the time I retired, he says, the House Oversight Committee, or the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, hadn't asked for a briefing from Arrow, and I and the Pentagon were pretty vocal about it. And subsequently, Luna's committee finally asked for a briefing after I left. The Pentagon asked me to come up and brief them in a classified meeting. She accused Arrow of setting up a honeypot without actually knowing what a honeypot was. She also had no desire to hear actual explanations of events, calling us liars. Imagine that. I have trouble believing she knows the definition of transparency as it has too many syllables. Wow, shots fired, Sean. Her continued conspiracy mongering is matched only by her ignorance. She'll defund anyone who tells the truth. Yeah, Sean, the lovely truth teller himself, who said, I was never briefed on Skinwalker Ranch, but here's the picture of him being briefed on Skinwalker Ranch. Where, by the way, he told Brandon Fugel and others, don't waste our time trying to convince us of UFOs. We know all about UFOs. So yeah, those are the statements from the lovely Sean Kirkpatrick. Meanwhile, Ronnie Vernet has this to say. I firmly believe the Boogosphere is a customized rocket fuel tank. Its internal volume of approximately 9 liters aligns with widely available commercial specifications, which also explains its construction from aerospace-grade aluminum alloy. And I guess I can see where he's coming from. I mean, they sure do look a lot alike, don't they? In the Boogosphere, I mean, it's hard to argue that it looks man-made. I mean, it really does. I don't argue with that at all. But if the scientists who are studying it are correct, it's very, very anomalous. And of course, I've reported on that, and other channels have reported on that. I need more eyes on this thing. I really need more scientists to look at it and verify that it's anomalous before going 100% on board with this. But I think we're slowly getting there. It is looking more and more anomalous. It really is. And Hoist Mantia replies to Ronnie, saying, I expected this kind of comparison from any pedestrian, any meme creator. I'm not a ufologist, I'm just a journalist, but I prefer to wait for the results of the scientific and academic investigation commissioned. Be patient, dear Ronnie. Science will give us the answer. So yeah, that's, kind of a smackdown from Joyce, saying that he had expected this of a, meme creator, but not of Ronnie. I love Ronnie. He's done some great reporting, gone down into the Amazon and interviewed and videoed some of the phenomenon that was going on down there, among other things. So I'm a supporter of Ronnie, but I'm not on board with dismissing the Boogosphere as a customized rocket fuel tank. So, but it's early days in the study of the Boogosphere. The research could go either way at this point. But it's really looking very unusual and not something that you could buy at a Walmart or anywhere else that I've ever heard of. And if you guys know where to buy floating balls of metal that fly with no visible means of propulsion and without any apparent means of knowing where the heck it's going, let me know. Meanwhile, Jim Simivan says that he has seen pictures of actual recovered UFOs.
When you get down, I mean, if you talk to Hal Putoff, or you talk to some of the other people involved, they were, involved in OSAP and ATIP, and they will tell you flat out, yeah, we have craft, down craft, and yes, we have bodies. I've seen pictures. So I'm a believer that we do. Never physically touched them myself, but
you've seen pictures of like a down craft.
Yeah, craft. I just let that go. So
now he also seemed to suggest he had seen pictures of bodies too. So yeah, Jim has seen some stuff. Where is this evidence before Congress? What can we do to get this evidence presented at Congress? I love the whistleblowers. I love people like David Grush, and I hope that his 40-plus witnesses or whistleblowers will come forward, and many others like Jake Barber. I hope they all come forward to testify before Congress, but I hope that some of them can bring forth evidence like what Jim is talking about here. What are the odds, guys? What do you guys think? Last but not least, some serious dog drama going on here. Look at this. Nope. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Look at that. Yeah, he wants Pops. Look at this. Okay, now that's a very happy dog. All right, let me know what you think about this serious dog drama and everything else covered today in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, buy a t-shirt or a coffee mug. Yeah, t-shirts look like that. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.